Oh, hi everybody. Nice to see you again. Mm. And we begin as usual with the guided meditation and the activation, the enlightenment activation. So those of you who wants to have this activation during the meditation, you have to have the video on. I think you know that by now. Okay. So we just sit comfortably and close our eyes. And in this meditation, it's all about creating an inner environment of openness. But if we try to be open, if we try to be available, it doesn't work. Because it's very trying itself make us not open. But the good news is that we don't have to try anything. We just stop all trying now. Stop all searching for a moment. Stop all fixing. And just let this moment, which is here now, be exactly as it already is. With experiences, feelings, body sensations, and thoughts. Everything is allowed to be here exactly as it is. We're not pushing anything away. We're not analyzing anything. We're not interested in anything particular. We're just here, sitting here, allowing the moment to be exactly as it is. Not interested in anything particular and doing absolutely nothing. And the activation will start very soon. If thoughts are grabbing attention, we just remember the instruction. Everything is allowed to be exactly as it is in this moment. Even thoughts are allowed to be here. We don't push thoughts away. We're just not interested in them. And then they will subside. So we just sit here, allowing the moment to be exactly as it is, not interested in anything particular, and doing absolutely nothing. So, okay, we can take 1 or 2 minutes to come out to meditation. You can have your eyes closed if you want to. So, in the state you are in now, maybe you feel that there's a state of just being here, being present, just being. And it's usually a state we come to in the meditation, in the non-doing meditation. State of just, I am just here. Just me being here. So then we have these ideas, many of us. There's something wrong with me. I need to be fixed somehow. I need to have help. Maybe I should go to therapy, counselor, psychologist, or whatever, to fix this me. Because I had this idea that I'm not good enough. Maybe. Everyone is unique here, of course. Everyone has his own so-called luggage. There's no luggage, but there's a way of talking about it. I'm not worth of being loved. I'm a loser. I will not get it. I'm not worthy of being happy. I'm not worthy of being enlightened. All kinds of ideas about me. But when we look now, in the state you are now, after the meditation activation, there's some kind of presence, some kind of being here. It's not only some kind of being here, it's me being here. I exist. I live. I'm not dead. I'm not sleeping. I'm not a stone. I'm here. And have always been here. We don't talk so much about it, that it's quite obvious when we look. But I'm always here, present. So the question is, does this I have any problems? This me, which is just a feeling and knowing that I exist, that I live. I'm present, I'm here, I'm aware, or whatever you want to put it. Does it really have any problem? This mere feeling of existing, living, is that I not good enough? Seems to be very strange to put this question, no? But we do. And everybody doing it. Oh, I'm not enough. What are we talking about here? What the whole psychology and psychiatry and counseling is based upon. That there's someone here who needs to be fixed. Someone here, there's something wrong with me. So where does it come from? Because when we look now in the feeling of being present, being here, which we always are from morning to evening. I've always been. Doesn't seem to be any problem with this me. This me in the I exist, I am here, I live, doesn't seem to have any need for being seen, need for being loved, need to be happy. There's no needs here. There are no psychological needs. When we look at this feeling, knowing I am, I exist, I'm here, present. So where does it come from, these ideas then, that there's something wrong with me? Well, it seems to be another me here also. But if we just go back to this I exist, I am, and look, am I creating thoughts? Of course, we believe that we are creating thoughts. Even the big French philosopher in the 17th century, René Descartes, he thought that he was, I think that's so I am. Cogito ergo sum. They were talking Latin that those days very much. I think, therefore I am. It's very strange. I don't want to criticize him because there was another context, but to believe that there's a me creating thoughts. So if you look now in the me feeling that you have just now, just being, just existing, just existence, is this me creating any thoughts? Really? Can you see that this me and the existing me is creating any thoughts in this moment? Thoughts are coming, maybe protesting against this, what is said here, for instance. Whatever, thoughts are coming. But do you see that there is a me creating them? Do you see a process of creating them? Now we're going to create the thoughts, going to be have this protest in content, create protesting against Crystal, what you're saying, and now I'm preparing to do it, and I'm creating it, and now it's coming within me, within whoever it is. Do we really see that kind of protest, that kind of process? We don't. So why do we think that we are creating thoughts then? Well, we were taught to do that when we were children. We're planting this idea. You are responsible. There's a person inside you somehow, some kind of ghost, called me, which is responsible and has to make right decisions, has to control so that everything goes smoothly so I get what I want and so on. Doing, fixing. But this is just an idea. When we look, we don't see that one creating thoughts. We have been looking at it before. We don't have to repeat it here. But what we saw was that we couldn't see that there's a me creating thoughts. We couldn't see that there's a me creating decisions then, because that is also thinking. We cannot see any me controlling anything at all, because control is based on thinking. We don't create any thoughts. That's what we see when we look now in this state of being. I can't see that I'm creating any thoughts from this place. It's just a feeling of existing, being here, present. Quite comfortable place, actually. Nothing needs to be done. And it doesn't matter what happens in the story. I don't mind what happens really, so to speak. But the idea is that there is someone here who is responsible for the thoughts and for the decisions and for the control and for the doing, fixing. And also with that comes the idea that this I is not good enough. Let me come into the more psychology here. That there's a me here who needs to be fixed. So I go to therapy. I'm not criticizing therapists or psychology now, okay? Don't misunderstand me here. We are just looking at this issue, psychological issue of me when it comes to enlightenment. Only that. It's a very, very important issue. Without it, you will not see oneness, because me means separation. That's why we are focusing so much on it. So the idea is that this me is not good enough and has to be fixed somehow, and there's something wrong with it. But when we have looked, and we have looked quite much now in individual sessions and in group sessions, we haven't found that me who is something wrong with. That's me which is something which is not good enough. We haven't found the thinker, decider, controller. What we find is this state of being. It's just state of being here. Presence. It's not that doesn't seem to be any person even, because it's unlimited. I'm filled with harmony and a joy which is not caused by something particular. And even love is seen eventually. And this me doesn't seem to have any problems that needs to be fixed. So what we see here is that the real I doesn't need to be fixed. But the thought, the illusory I, the belief that there is a person here, that is the basis of these ideas that I need to fix my life. I need to fix myself. I have to have help. Because I will not make it. I am not worthy of enlightenment. All these kinds of ideas. It's about the me which does not even exist. It's totally ridiculous. But of course, it's not enough to listen to this man here. You have to see it. It has to become a living reality in your life. And this is what we do here in the group sessions and individual sessions, especially to look in your specific case. What is a hindrance for you to see that you are already living in oneness? So one angle we have covered today is the idea that there is someone here who needs to be fixed. But the only one we find when we look for this who needs to be fixed, the only me we find is a pure state of just being here. Just being. It doesn't matter what happens in the story. So why should it be fixed? Everything is just total peace and love, and actually bliss. Qualities will be seen more, which will be seen more and more when we meditate with non-doing meditation and the activation, and questioning these beliefs which we have about ourselves that we need to be fixed. Something wrong with me. And to take away these ideas by just investigating what do we mean by this. Finding out is just illusory. There's no evidence for this one who needs to be fixed. There's no evidence for anyone who has negative qualities, because there is no one in the first place. And the I we have found today, and it's always there in you, very easy to access. By just asking the question, am I here? And then the attention will go to that place. Yeah, I'm here. I'm always here. And I don't need to be fixed. I'm not a person in the story. I'm outside the story, so to speak, witnessing it. Enjoying it now for the first time, maybe, because now it's not so serious anymore. It's just a flow of phenomena rising and falling, interpreted by one of these phenomena called thinking. Most people think that it's hell on earth to live, but actually it's the opposite. It's heaven. We just need to question our beliefs that we have about ourselves. So I open up for questions now on this, or if we start by having questions about this issue first, then we can talk about the meditation and activation later. Lloyd is going a little bit philosophical here by asking who will ask the question. Well, no one will ask the question, but the question will come if it comes. It's a part of the dance. So is there any dance coming in you, Floyd?
No dance, but yeah, what you mentioned about therapy, I thought about it today.
Okay.
Maybe I don't feel like doing anything, so maybe I should, you know, talk to a counselor and maybe motivate myself to do things.
Well, if that question, if it comes inside you, maybe I should go to a counselor or something. Did you create that thought? Was it just something which what came? And if they have some kind of power in it, maybe you will go to a counselor also. Then that is part of the story. But we are looking here for what is beyond the story, where the story is coming from. So everything which is happening is just happening spontaneously, automatically by itself. And if there's not so much power about counseling and therapy, maybe there will not be anything more happening than just a thought coming and going. Do you have any questions around this, Floyd?
From, I don't know, you can correct me. From what I've understood is that there will be like things like counseling, therapy, they can help with uh, problems or whatever comes in the story. But what we are talking about here, enlightenment, is maybe beyond that level. That's I don't know. That's how I understood what you are trying to say.
Yeah, exactly so. We are not talking about, I mean, counseling or therapy can be something useful in the story. Actually, it is not true. But it may seem that it is useful in the story. So it has its place.
Mm.
Yeah, it has its place in the story. But what we are talking about here, what is it that stops us, hinders us from see that we are already living in the one state? And that is, as you say, beyond, it's beyond this issue of someone who needs to have counseling, who needs to go to therapy. That's why I don't want to say all psychologists just fire yourself, just resign today, do something better tomorrow. I'm definitely not saying that. Because if you're working as a psychologist, well, then you're working as a psychologist in the story. What's the problem? Everything has its place because it's part of the story. But here we are looking for the question. We are looking for the answer to the question: what is this story really? Where does it come from? And to see what kind of ideas that we have, which makes us not see that we are already enlightened. And one of them is, of course, the idea that there's a separate me here that needs to be fixed. And if the clarity is there quite much, maybe there will be no therapy going to. Maybe there will be no counseling. Because it is seen that, but there is no one here to be fixed anymore. But as long as there is some little corner left, the idea that there is someone here who maybe need to have some counseling, maybe the counseling will happen. It's just to have this understanding that we are talking about illusory I. And the belief in this illusory I makes us not see that reality is one. But you're living not in oneness, because there's still two, as oneness. Only one is. Thank you, Floyd. You want to say something more? No? Someone else? I can just comment on. Yeah. Okay, Krishna. Yeah. Hi. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. So glad that you're fine.
Yeah.
I had a question. It's around personalities. We all have different personalities, and sometimes some people might not like my personality. Sometimes I can be a little aggressive when it comes to certain things, and it just comes automatically sometimes. And then I go into that space of self blame that I shouldn't have this personality. It's not right to have this personality. I have to change myself. What do I do in this situation? Because now I feel that however I am, I'm fine, and I don't want to convince anybody to accept me the way I am. But sometimes I experience this clash with some people, uh, and I don't know how to tell them that this is how I am, and I love myself the way I am, but I can't force you to love me the way I am. So I don't know how to deal with this situation.
Well, who's going to deal with it? That is what we're talking about here. Huh? We have the idea that I can do something to improve something, to change something, to change my behavior or change my personality or whatever, change my attitude towards people. The idea is coming, but we are not creating that thought even. That's what we have seen. No? So if their thoughts are coming, they are coming. Maybe they are manifesting itself as some kind of change, or maybe not. You see, everything is just a dance here. It's just a flow of phenomena rising and falling. There's no one who can change anything because there is no one. There's no person as a doer. So people, we don't love everybody, we don't accept everybody, and so on and so on and so on. But this is just how the story goes. It's like in a movie. It can be quite boring if everybody was friends all the time. How long will you look at that movie? 15 minutes? Has to be some action. Huh? Of course, this is a metaphor, but just to have a little bit dynamism. So we are different. We have different personalities, but we have to distinguish, at least in English, we distinguish between person and personality. Person is the idea that there's a person here, an I, who can change something, and that is what we are questioning. The personality we're not questioning. Personality is that we are behaving in a certain way. We are reacting in a certain way and so on. And of course, if this behavior is connected to a psychological issue from the very beginning, we're always angry, huh? Because of something which is in psychology, which is based on I am angry, huh? At the bottom. That, of course, has also an impact on the behavior. But when I'm saying personality, I mean the way we are, called character, that we are responding in a certain way. Men are different from women, and so on and so on. And that kind of personality, it's not easy to change that. And why should we change it? Why should it be changed? We're usually having all kinds of roles. We have 100 roles every day. In the morning, we are the generous one. In the evening, we're economical. Oh, how could I be so stupid to borrow money to him? I will never get back. We are playing all kinds of roles. And this is not anything wrong with that. It's a part of the story unfolding. And so the idea that I have to be accepted by other people is based on the idea that there is someone that in the other one. Because, of course, there's not only talking about us here, we're talking about everyone, even the one we meet. There's someone there, over there, that needs to accept me as I am. But there is no one there either. If we find we haven't found any me as a person, we have found this unlimited being. That's what we are. If we haven't found any person in me who has an idea about himself, it means that there is no person in the other ones also. So the accept concept is based on the idea that there is someone accepting or not accepting. But when it is seen and understood, first maybe seen, or understood first and seen, that there is actually no person here, and that means that there is no person there. So no one can be blamed. These things are just happening in the way it happens. And if people have a behavior towards you, Krishna, that you feel a little bit uncomfortable and so on, then that is happening. But if this uncomfortableness is connected to a belief that you have, that there is a person here who is not accepted, then a suggestion is to look deeper. Who is this one who is not accepted? There is no one. So first we discover in ourselves that there is no person here, and then the whole psychology just goes away. It just collapses. And then the next step is, of course, to see that there is no one in the other persons as well. Because so they cannot be blamed for what they do. And if something is happening within us, it's because we still have a belief that there is someone here who can be hurt. Someone here who can be attacked. Someone here who can be mistreated. So first we look at ourselves, and this we do very most efficient in the individual sessions actually, and using the tool in daily activity, the tools which are given out. But also to understand that as long as the other one, so to speak, anyone, is having a behavior towards us that makes us react inside us, some kind of reaction, there's still something inside us which is not seen clearly. But it's a process, Krishna. It's a process that everyone has to go through. It takes little time. It's not like this, usually not, very rarely, that the me just goes away like that. It happens, but not so common. I don't know if that is an answer to your question, Krishna.
Thank you, Krista. Yes, I've got a lot of clarity on this, and as you said, it's a process, and I'm not in a hurry, so I'm just allowing myself to, just take one day at a time and just
to look, is become aware that okay, reaction is inside me now. Why is it reaction inside me? It's because I have ideas about myself, which is very destructive and negative. And doesn't matter where they come from. You don't have to go back in history. You don't have to go to therapy. We're just realizing they are here now in this moment. But if there is no person at all, what happens to these reactions then? Because the reactions is based on the idea that there's a person who can be hurt in the first place. We can work with it even more in the individual sessions also, Krishna, as we do. Yeah.
Yes, I would love that.
Yeah, of course, we do it in July. Yeah, of course.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else? Yes,
Chris.
Fritz. Hi, Fritz. Nice to see you.
Yeah, good to see you. So some of the things that affected, let's say, my idea about myself over time were misinterpretations from, I guess you'd say, childhood stuff. My parents never said, "Oh, you're bad," or, well, not consistently, but there was an interpretation based on what I saw as a little kid, and I didn't really understand what was going on. So this story started about me. So I don't know where I'm going with this, but a lot of the me is interpretation. I guess that's kind of what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's an interpretation, and we have been taught to believe a thought. And of course, a thought is an interpretation. We have been taught to believe the thought that there is some kind of person around here. It's not only a body which has experiences, feelings, sensations, right, and thoughts rising and falling, because they're coming even when there is no language. So firstly, there is not only a body here. We have been taught to believe that there's a person here also. A responsible person. A person in itself is quite harmless. Okay, it's a person here, so okay, he can be here, so to speak. But then the responsible person comes into picture, and then the whole hell starts. So first they plant the idea in us, these poor parents, so to speak, that there is a person here who is, and then they planted that is responsible, then things are happening because things are happening all the time, and it seemingly seems to be mistakes. It seems to be behavior which is not in accordance with the social structure, how we should behave and so on. And then there's a criticism from the parents towards this poor kid. And of course, then the interpretation comes, as you say, that there's something here called person who was bad now, or did the wrong behavior, behaving the wrong way, or is lazy or whatever, try to not brush a tree. So, I mean, it's a lot of things that comes into a criticism of this poor little creature after being planted that there is a person here responsible for all this, what is happening. But when we are looking at what we do here, we see that there is no one responsible. But of course, the child just doesn't look in this way. It's just copying. It's just copying what the parents has been taught by their parents and so on. So in this way, it just continues the illusory idea about the responsible me, which is not good enough, and so on. Comes later, it just adds more and more dimensions on this me, which from the very beginning is just a thought. planted by the parents, but just adds more and more and more and more. And by the way, and when we are 40, we are totally exhausted. Huh? It started to go to therapy or whatever. It's just built. It's just a this castle. Huh? What do you call it? This card castle.
House of cards.
Yeah, castle of cards. It's just one on the other. But the first one, take away that one, everything is collapsing. And this is what we try to do here. Take away the basic card, the core belief about the me, and then the whole thing collapses. There is no need for any therapy, any counseling anymore. So we have a question from GP. I don't know what GP. Okay, I can call you GP then. So is this a meaning of waking up? Well, the waking up is many things. The waking up is to, very shortly, to see, to realize that I am not a responsible person in a story. I'm just pure love, which is bliss, just living, existing. That is what we saw in the meditation, coming to a place of just pure being, just being here. But that is a permanent state which is always here, available right now, right here. So the awakening or enlightenment is to see what is actually true here. How is it really? And one of these stepping stones to see that is to question the separation idea. Separation idea means that there is something which makes us not see that reality is one. Because this pure being that we see in meditation, if we look at it closely, we see that it's actually not two, huh? It's one being. We are already seeing little glimpse of the enlightened state when we come to that place of pure one being, shining existence, shining joy and shining love and shining peace, untouched by what happens. That is, in short, the discovery. And this discovery is usually taking place in different shifts and different steps. But the end state is a state of just realizing that there is only being. And this being is total love and total bliss. Forever. Forever. Eternally so. And this is what we are. I don't know if that is the answer to your questions, GP. Is it okay?
Yes, thank you, Krista.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
In order to see this and to live in that permanent state, whether there's a story going on or not, is that we do here, that we question our beliefs, what we have about ourselves and life and others. And about enlightenment as well, because there are so many misunderstandings about enlightenment. And people are different, so people need to have unique individual instructions. That is why we're focusing on individual sessions, which of course are free of charge, as everything here, as we know. Someone else? Is there somebody who wants to talk about something else? Of course. If someone wants to share something about the meditation or the enlightenment activation and so on, you're free to do that, everything. Including protests, of course. Protests are very good because it means that you are engaged in it, you are involved in it, you want to know. Nothing is wrong here. Yeah, I feel a little bit better. My my voice is not totally recovered, as you noticed, but it's nice to be back. So if no one has anything else, we will see each other, if you want to, tomorrow at the same time here on Zoom with a new topic. We will let you know on WhatsApp and in Telegram and on Skype. Okay, maybe I can just finish by having a few minutes in silence.